So I called this video my coffee shop and remote work EDC, but the fact of the matter is that even my in-person workforce friends should probably have this type of Go kit assembled because quite frankly, your office spaces are more than likely hoteling setups anyway. So the bottom line is I want to show you how to become a self-contained productivity machine. So let's get into it. Hi. I'm Bill Rice. As an entrepreneur and agency owner for over 2 decades, I've been fortunate to reap the benefits of this lifestyle. On this channel, I share insights that have helped me to build wealth while maintaining a healthy work-life balance, and hopefully you will too. So let's jump into the gear and how I kind of set it up. And obviously the first component is going to be the bag. So I use the TOMTOC. And this bag honestly is quite surprising for a relatively small bag. You can see tons of room in here, but again, a small bag. It's not like a full backpack. It could actually be sort of slung across you, front or back. But this thing is always loaded out with everything. And I'm gonna show you exactly how I kind of put this thing together. So from the bag, we then go to the computer. So for me, generally it is the MacBook Air. This is the 13-inch version. And this is just like the perfect size, and it's powerful. This I think is maybe the M1, M2 version. So it's not necessarily the latest version, but this will do everything I need. And as you can see, kind of loading this thing out, very simply fits inside of here. So there's no tugging, pulling, pushing. It goes in there nice and cleanly. It has its own sort of suspended pocket, so it's going to be secure inside of there. So the computer is there. I have tried many times to go to the iPad Pro. This is the 11-inch, and I love this form factor, but unfortunately, most of my life is built around the Google suite, if you will, and it just doesn't give you full functionality on the iPad Pro. So I'm stuck occasionally, if I'm on vacation or in a kind of less of a work mode, I will take this because it's a pretty good writing device. The problem I have even with the writing device is it doesn't give me a lot of the tools that I like to have at my disposal, because as much as I've tried kind of the free writing approach where I just don't worry about grammar and all that thing, I meticulously edit as I write. And so I like to have Grammarly alongside of me and some of the increasing add-ins with Gemini and that sort of thing. And again, just doesn't support Google products very well. So sometimes this will go with me on a vacation, but if I'm going to a coffee shop or a Panera or something like that to work, I'm gonna swap in my MacBook Air, which isn't too much bigger actually. So it's pretty good form factor there. Okay, so the next essential piece is gonna be the tech pouch. And I've actually switched over to the Lochby venture pouch. And again, kind of like this bag, surprisingly large. I mean, you can stuff this thing full of more than you ever expected it. Now, prior to this, and this may still fit your needs, I used this tripped tech pouch, so tech organizer, and you can see it has a ton of space. It sits nicely on the desk when it's open, so there's some advantages to that. Actually, right now I've got DJI Osmos in there. I got a full camera in there, tons of pins, hard drives, and all this sort of thing. So this gives you a ton of room, but I honestly don't have that much tech gear anymore because of the consolidation with USB-C, standardization, multi-use cables, everything's sort of shrinking, even my power banks that I like to use, and I'll kind of show you here in a second. This isn't becoming as necessary. So let's take a look real quick. I've reviewed the Lochby before, but I'm just gonna kind of show you how much you can get in here. So one, you can put all your sort of cables, your different pens and pencils that you want in there. You can stick more stuff in here. You can put your iPod in there. You can even get that full battery pack in there. Fits better in kind of the other compartment. I'll show you that in a second. So in here, I actually have a full battery pack. This is the Nitecore in here. I also have this, and I love this thing. And again, all of this will be linked down, the specific sort of devices, but this is a little wall charger. And unlike some of the other ones, it doesn't fall out. So if you're in an Airbnb or you're working at a coffee shop, there's a good chance that the outlets are kind of loose because this is flat form factor, and the actual cable connectors on the bottom, just sort of the weight of this hangs nicely inside of the outlet, even on the looser outlets. And of course, it goes down to nothing when you pack it in your bag. So I like that to be sort of my outlet. And then inside of here, other stuff. This is also, again, we're not talking about travel, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. USB-C converted to USB A or whatever it is, the original. This is critical if you want to listen to, you want to charge or you want to listen with your iPods connected or whatever. You need this transition to plug into the airplanes because they're all kind of USB-A. Also inside of cars, rental cars in particular. Anyway, a bunch of stuff. Like I said, you can even get this, all of this stuff inside of here if you wanted to. And you still got room to spare, right? I could still stuff more. Put my cables in here. But normally the way I like to pack this out, honestly, and again, this isn't a travel sort of scenario, but I lighten this up. I like to pack this out, maybe even put my cell phone in here so that when I'm putting my bag in the overhead or underneath my seat, I grab this out. It'll fit a nice Snickers bar in there, a little snack for the plane trip. And then this is what I carry just kind of in that front seat pocket. So this thing just has so many uses, and I love just being able to kind of grab it out of my bag and go. So that's the tech pouch. Okay, let's go to notebooks. And if you've been following my channel for any length of time, you know that I'm a huge fan of the Lochby journals because you can put all kinds of stuff in here. You can put multiple notebooks in here. This is and again, these are kind of a craft paper. Lochby has its own. You can get the Tuans, which I'm a big fan of. You can even put some different types of notebooks in there. Got the pen loop, got a back storage compartment, the ruler in here. Okay, but as I said, I'm in a bit of an experimental phase with this. And what I'm starting to get or become a fan of is just essentially the naked notebook, if you will. For a couple different reasons. One, I kind of like to, you can see there's one of the problems with not using a Lochby style journal is you can't kind of secure all of your different notes. And I'm a big fan of ripping out notes and processing them. But being able to kind of use the notebook without a cover just gives me this sense of being able to really use this without thinking about it. It doesn't feel formal. I can beat it up. I can stick it in a pocket. I can stick it inside of my coat. I can shove it in the bag. It gets a little beat up, which again, makes it feel like it's being used. I find that I use my notebooks more when I don't have them all kind of nicely contained and inside of a nice cover. So again, it's an experiment. We're always experimenting. And then what really started this transition was, and there's a video on my channel I can link up to here, the Sam Altman video where I kind of talked about his methodology, and he uses these little spiral ringed notebooks. And again, we'll link all this up. We talked about kind of finding the right pen so you can store that. And then inside of here, you can quickly and easily rip out these pages as you process them. So when I do my end of week review, particularly this notebook, not necessarily this one, but this one I fully process. I will literally, to the best of my ability, rip out all of the pages and then process them into my Notion system so that I then have that sort of second brain database that I can use all of the digital and the AI tools to leverage that knowledge that I've processed. So this is my notebook system. I actually use a 3 notebook system. So this is more of a journal. I have one on my desk that is oriented in a horizontal fashion. So it kind of sits like this. And that is what I use for meeting notes and that sort of thing. This goes in my pocket or at quick access whenever something kind of just hits me. I like to put it in here versus my phone. A lot of reasons for that. But again, recently, my fan of sort of the notebook being put into that style. So again, sort of continuing to stock this thing, these notebooks are just gonna literally go boom inside of there. Lochby handle up is gonna go inside of here, so I can pull that whenever I'm ready. Next thing is our accessories. So accessories are really important, particularly power. So this has been for a long time my preferred power source. You can see inside of my Lochby, I had kind of the thin. I can use that if I'm in a place where I just kind of want to plug in and stay connected. But this is really efficient too. And again, because of the weight, generally even for looser plugs, this is going to sit in here because it's going to kind of do this number. But the beauty of this is I have some more USB-C and A outlets, so I can charge multiple things or run multiple things at a time. But the really neat thing about this is, and this is how I use it a lot of times, as it's in the wall, it's charging. So when I pull this thing out and I need to go more remote, or I want to sit somewhere that I don't have access, because I use this also as a wall charger, it always stays charged, and it's a battery pack. So you can see, you can again use all these outlets and just use it as a battery pack. Invariably, when I had just a standalone battery pack, or even this Nitecore, if you were to look at the thing right now, it's actually pretty much dead. So this form factor helps to make sure that this is always charged up, because it's my wall outlet normally, and so it's sitting there and charging. So we just sort of slip that in there. I could put it in the Lochby if I want to. So the other thing that's essential, especially working in coffee shops, sometimes I like the background noise, but for the most part, especially if I've got some talkative neighbors, I'm going to use my AirPods Pro 2. I love these. My hearing used to fly jets back in the day. My hearing's not great, so the hearing aid functionality on this is a hidden gem, right? Even when you're listening to things, it still has that hearing aid functionality. So it's going to give you, even while you're listening to something, it's going to enhance that background noise so that you can hear. So if somebody talks to you, again, you can turn on the noise canceling, but if somebody talks to you, even with kind of that noise going, whatever you're listening to, you're going to be able to hear them clearly. And of course, you can turn and talk to them. It's also adaptive. So when someone's talking to you, it also then sort of lowers the volume on the other thing that you're listening. So again, hidden gem. The hearing aid thing, I will tell you, is kind of interesting and shocking to me. When I first got it, it almost felt like a clandestine listening device, because man, this thing enhances your hearing. So you can not only kind of does its thing as a hearing aid, but you can hear people across the room. So you might want to be careful with that. Or it can be a little bit annoying, because sometimes you don't want to listen to those. At least for me, I'm not into listening to all the drama of other people's lives. So that's an essential part of my accessories. The other thing, and I won't go into this because I've got like numerous sort of videos around just the different types of pens that I use, but I'll throw in a couple. And again, these will be in the descriptions. Big fan of the GraphGear 1000. So this one's kind of a cool form factor. Completely hides the lead, so I don't break it, which I do a lot. The other thing nice about this versus my previous preferred Pentel P209 is I don't end up stabbing myself all the time. And then again, fan of kind of these different form factors. The Uniball, if you're a Sharpie fan, their rollerball is excellent. The other thing I'm kind of the go-to for me always is the Pilot G2, but I actually don't. I was looking around so I could show you one. I don't actually have one right now because I was trying these Amazon Basics, and believe it or not, they're really good and they're pretty cheap. So there's probably some religious wars over buying Amazon Basic versus the other brands, but this is pretty darn good. Uniball, this is the Vision, the Micro. I do this because I do a lot of sketching and drawing. And this Uniball is a Uni 1. All in all, I'm always a fan of the clicker. So this is a routine driver for me as well. And then kind of the last thing that often goes in my bag is some sort of book that I'm reading or processing. And you can see this is one pretty popular, 4,000 Weeks. Quite honestly, there's a lot of rage over this. I don't think it's like the end all be all. So I'm sort of counter hype on this. It's a good book, no question. Did a good job. It's definitely not tactical. It goes into an interesting ways about how we think about time and how potentially we should think about time. But again, I'm reading through this. I'm getting some good stuff out of there. You can see that I've definitely got some marks and notes, but I think oftentimes like a book will just gain its own momentum through influencers or good marketing or getting all these people to talk about it. Sapiens is one of these that I think interesting, but like not the best book I've ever read. This falls into that same category. So I kind of wonder if the influencer marketing is sort of driving this thing to the New York bestseller. But anyway, the point is I'm often got inside of here a book that I'm working through and processing. And again, I'll probably do something a little more intentional around how I process books. But you can see I mark them up, I turn the corners, use some stickies. The other thing I'm kind of toying with is using note cards to process the book versus sort of writing in the front. I kind of think I like writing in the front. So if I pick this off the bookshelf again, I'll have some notes in there. Again, everything's going to be processed and go into my Notion folder. And sometimes as I'm writing a book, I'll do Ryan Holiday's methodology of using note cards. So kind of back and forth testing that. I think I will go back to potentially sort of dog-earing the pages, underlining them, and maybe making the most sort of important notes live forever in kind of the front of the book versus this. Because if I'm processing that book, then I can just go to Notion and process it through. I probably don't need this extra step with the note card. So that's, again, something that I'm testing. But again, that's going to go inside of here as part of kind of my work haul. This literally is just sitting there ready to go. And then the only other thing is this Yeti that, and I love this thing. This is a new thing that I got. I saw it on another channel, but I can do it with water. Then you can swap this out and do coffee with it. So I had a plastic one, but it only gave me kind of one way to go. I like the fact that I can make this hot or cold. And again, that'll fit nicely inside of the bag. So that's kind of what I use to stay productive on the go. And like I said, this bag is always packed and ready to go. On my desktop, I have different equipment. I'm fortunate enough to be able to do that. So I can just grab this bag, head off to the coffee shop, head off to Panera, and use that. So my question is, what's your secret weapon or your favorite gear for staying productive on the go? If you like this video, watch for my upcoming video on my single bag travel gear. You can take everything that you need and still bruise through the budget airline personal item bag check. Love for you to like and subscribe and join me on future videos.